the sun. It's just this immense source of clean energy, right? And we're seeing more and more homes, more businesses harnessing it directly. Rooftop solar has become really popular. And today, on the deep dive, we're focusing on something absolutely vital if you have one of these systems, or even if you're just thinking about it. It's the maintenance of rooftop on-grid solar plants. We're going to zero in on a specific and, I think, really interesting place, the Punjab region of India.
Yeah, Punjab it's a great example, really. You've got loads of sunshine, obviously, but also, importantly, government incentives that they've really pushed rooftop solar adoption. It's huge there.
Right.
But, and this is the key thing, all that potential, all that sunlight, it comes with a condition. If you don't maintain these systems properly, that long-term efficiency, the savings you were promised, it can just sort of fade away.
Fade away. That's a good way to put it. So, okay, our mission today is to dig into the sources you've looked at, pull out the really important bits, the actionable stuff, basically give you a shortcut to understanding how to keep these solar systems humming along, not just working, but like performing at their best for decades.
Especially in Punjab's climate, which can be tough.
Exactly. We'll cover why maintenance is just, non-negotiable there. We'll talk about the specific challenges you mentioned, the climate, hot summers, dust storms, monsoons, high winds, all that. Then we'll get practical, a checklist, what you can maybe do yourself, and crucially, when you absolutely need to call in a pro.
Yeah, knowing the difference is key.
And finally, we'll touch on other important things like insurance, government support, things that can really make a difference. So the big question is, what does it actually take, to keep these powerhouses running efficiently year after year, especially somewhere like Punjab?
Well, let's break it down. The sources really hammer this home. Punjab's climate is a double-edged sword. Great for sun, but challenging for the equipment. Let's start with dust. It sounds simple, but it's a major player, a kind of silent thief, really.
A silent thief. Okay, that sounds pretty significant. How bad can it actually get?
Oh, it's serious. The dust, the particulate matter, you get a lot of it in Punjab.
Yeah.
From farming, dry conditions. It can cut your system's efficiency by, get this, 15 to 25%.
15 to 25, wow.
Yeah. Just from dust sitting on the panels. Think about that. It's like you're just throwing away a chunk of your energy savings if you're not cleaning them.
That really changes the whole set it and forget it idea some people might have about solar, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's not just about the energy you're generating right now, is it? It's about lifespan, too. A system that's looked after can last, 25 years? Maybe more?
Easily 25 plus years, yeah. And safety, compliance, preventing electrical issues, protecting against storm damage, which is common with Punjab's winds. It all ties together.
Okay, so that brings us to the practical side, the checklist. What's first? Cleaning, I assume, given the dust issue.
Exactly. Cleaning the panels. It's number one for a reason, especially there.
Yeah.
And it's not just about making them look nice.
Right. So what's the recommended way to tackle this dust problem, though? What did the sources say?
They suggest cleaning every 2 to 3 months, pretty regularly.
Okay.
And the method matters. Use a soft brush, plain water. Definitely avoid anything abrasive, anything that could scratch the surface. And timing is important too. Do it early in the morning or late in the evening.
Why the specific timing? Is it just cooler then?
It is cooler, and that prevents something called thermal shock.
Thermal shock. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, think about pouring really cold water onto a really hot piece of glass. It can cause stress, right? Panels are similar. Quick, extreme temperature changes aren't ideal. Over time, it could potentially lead to tiny cracks, micro cracks, which impacts efficiency and how long they last.
Okay, that makes sense. Avoid stressing the panels. So clean when they're cool.
Exactly. Obviously, get rid of the other usual stuff too, bird droppings, leaves, especially if you're near agricultural areas in Punjab. But a key warning, no high-pressure water jets. They can actually damage the seals or the surface of the panels.
Right, gentle cleaning. Got it. So panels are clean. What's next? What else needs checking?
Okay, next up is making sure nothing's blocking the sun. Obstructions, you need to check regularly.
Like trees.
Yeah, exactly. Trees nearby might grow and start casting shadows. Branches might need trimming, which is pretty common in rural Punjab. Also, keep an eye out for any new buildings or construction nearby that could suddenly start shading your panels during parts of the day. Even a little bit of shade on one part can really drag down the output of the whole system.
Okay, so keep them clean, keep them clear of shadows. Now, what about the the bits you can't see as easily. The wiring, the connections.
Right, the electrical side. You need to do visual inspections, look for any loose wires, any signs of corrosion, even damage from rodents, which unfortunately can happen in, rural or semi-urban spots in Punjab.
Rodents. Wow, didn't think of that.
Yeah, they can chew through cables,
Yeah.
so check for that. But the sources also recommend getting a qualified electrician in, maybe once a year, to do a proper professional check. Some problems aren't obvious to, the untrained eye.
Okay, annual check by a pro. Good advice. Now, the inverter, that's kind of the brain of the operation, right? Turning DC into AC power for the house.
It is. It's crucial. And monitoring its performance is key. Usually there's an indicator light. Green typically means everything's okay.
And red means trouble.
Red or flashing usually signals a fault, yeah. That needs looking at pretty quickly. And something really relevant for Punjab is the heat. Summer temperatures can get intense, over 45 Celsius sometimes.
Wow.
So it's vital to make sure your inverter is installed in a place that's shaded and well ventilated. Too much heat seriously shortens its lifespan and makes it less efficient.
Right. Keep the brain cool. Makes total sense. Okay, what about the actual structure holding everything up? The mounting system. You mentioned Punjab has strong winds, dust storms.
Oh, absolutely. This is critical. After any big storm or periods of heavy wind, which happen fairly often in Punjab, you absolutely have to check the nuts and bolts holding the frame together.
Just make sure everything's tight.
Make sure everything's tight, things can work loose. And it's also smart to rust-proof any metal parts of the frame, especially the humidity during the monsoon season. The sources are really clear on this. If you find loose parts, tighten them immediately. A weak structure is a serious safety risk, especially in high winds. It could collapse, damage your roof, damage the panels.
Yeah, definitely don't want that. Okay, one last crucial bit on the checklist. Earthing or grounding. Why is that so important, especially there?
Earthing is fundamental safety. The recommendation is to check it every 6 months.
6 months, okay.
Yep, twice a year. And it's especially critical during the monsoon. Think of the earth wire as like an emergency exit for electricity. If there's a power surge, maybe from lightning, which happens, or an internal fault, the earthing directs that dangerous excess electricity safely into the ground.
Instead of into your house or appliances?
Exactly. It prevents shocks, prevents fires. And during the monsoon, with all the moisture around, the risk of electrical problems just goes way up. So proper earthing is vital. And definitely get an expert electrician to check this and make sure it's done right.
Okay, that's a pretty thorough list. Cleaning, obstructions, wiring, inverter health, structural checks, earthing. So we've covered what homeowners can potentially keep an eye on. But where's the line? When do you absolutely need to stop and call a professional solar technician?
Right. The sources draw a pretty clear line. Basic cleaning, visual checks, fine for the homeowner. But you need to call a pro if you see a sudden, significant drop in the amount of power your system is generating, and you can't figure out why.
Okay, unexplained power drop. What else?
Any visible damage to the panels themselves, cracks, shattering, that sort of thing. If your inverter is constantly showing error messages or fault lights, or if you suspect wiring issues, maybe circuit breakers keep tripping frequently, these are not DIY fixes. You need someone with expertise.
Right. Don't try and be a hero with complex electrical issues. Makes sense. Now, beyond the physical maintenance, there's another layer of protection we should talk about, particularly relevant for Punjab insurance.
Oh, definitely. Solar panel insurance is pretty much a must-have there. The sources really emphasize this. It covers you for damage from things like storms, high winds, lightning strikes, fire, other natural events, all real risks in that region.
So where do you get that? Just regular insurance company?
Yeah, check with general insurance providers. They often have specific policies for solar installations. And while we're on the subject of support, we should mention the government role too. Punjab has been quite active in promoting solar.
How so? What kind of support is available?
Well, there are subsidies, for starters.
Yeah.
Significant ones, actually. The sources mentioned up to 78,000 rupees for systems between 3 kilowatts and 10 kilowatts, which is a decent chunk of the cost.
That definitely helps make it more affordable.
For sure. And then there's net metering. This is a big one. It basically means if your panels produce more electricity than you're using at that moment, the excess goes back into the grid and your electricity meter kind of spins backwards. You get credit for that power.
So your roof effectively becomes a mini power plant that can earn you credits.
Exactly. It's a great incentive. Plus, there are lists of impaneled vendors, basically, government-approved installers and service providers. Using them helps ensure you're getting, reliable quality work. You can usually find info and apply for these schemes online. like through the PM Suryagar Yojana portal.
And what about costs for maintenance itself? Any ballpark figures?
It varies, of course, but the sources give some rough ideas. Basic professional cleaning might be somewhere in the range of, say, 500 to 1,500 INR. A full system inspection by a technician, maybe 2,000 to 5,000 INR. So not insignificant, but definitely an investment compared to potential losses or damage. And if we step back and look at the bigger picture here, doing this regular, proper maintenance, especially somewhere like Punjab, it's not just chores, right? It's actually a strategic investment. It directly impacts your savings, ensures you're getting the maximum energy you possibly can. And remember, these panels, if looked after, they can keep working well for 25 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
So really understanding these maintenance points, it empowers you. You're not just protecting an asset like your washing machine or something. You're actively managing your own energy future, making sure you can reliably use that free power from the sun for decades.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. It is an investment, and you need to protect it to get the full return. And those key takeaways really stick out. I mean, that 15 to 25% efficiency loss just from dust, that really highlights the need for regular cleaning, maybe every 2-3 months. And checking those nuts and bolts after every storm, that seems crucial given the weather. Plus, the earthing check every 6 months, especially thinking about the monsoon season risks. It's all about being proactive.
Exactly. Proactive, not reactive.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. We focused on Punjab with its specific challenges like dust and monsoons. But as rooftop solar becomes more common everywhere, all across the globe, what other kinds of localized environmental challenges might pop up, things specific to different regions? And how will these maintenance strategies need to adapt to keep clean energy truly sustainable no matter where it is?